that's the thing about Formula E. The event is great, it's in the middle of the city, so if you're traveling with your family or friends, if you're inviting people to come, you don't have to drive 2 hours off London to go to Silverstone or Hockenheim.
And presumably you get enough passes to invite your family.
Well, I guess if you're driving an F1, you can always figure out also some passes to
Has
take.
it really changed, Lucas?
Anyway. So,
and did you hang around in New York?
Yeah, we did. We hang around New York. We had all these celebrities coming to the race. It was pretty good. We had London. The last 2 years was also very good. We had many. Pretty much, I can't complain. Pretty much every race was.
I like
even Marrakesh. We had we had a good weekend. Which I guess Marrakesh for me was one of the worst because it was on a circuit. It was a circuit that the WTCC races. So it was one of the only races that we had, like Mexico, for example. We race on a half circuit type solution, and that's the most, let's say, the most common it goes. And for me, it's not the best, but still we had a lot of good time.
Berlin looked pretty cool.
Berlin,
a few nice corners, the tunnel, and the whole business of being near that lovely old air hangar looked great.
Yeah, Berlin was also a great event, very different, because the tarmac was the Tempelhof concrete, so the car behaved very differently. But the event itself, all the E-Village, all the sponsors, all the German manufacturers, Audi had a huge launch there. It was really good, it was really well made. I have no doubt in, let's say, I would say 10 years, but I think even less, we'll have a completely different conversation. I think Formula 1 and Formula E, they will coexist in the next years to come, but they should tend to be close to each other. Yeah, so there was a couple of them sitting around, yeah.
The only thing I think was a great shame was that from day one, Formula 1 and Formula E had to be separate for political whatever reasons. Because I think it would have been totally logical for Formula 1 to endorse Formula E and to have an association with it immediately.
It's because there were different owners.
Exactly, and that should never have happened.
Yeah, but
really,
now it's the same owner.
Now with Liberty, it's going to be obviously a lot better.
So now it's the same holding company that owns both.
That's what annoyed me initially, that the sport couldn't get its act together so that it was all part of the same package. Because Formula 1 didn't need to go so far down the way of hybrid engines if it had been endorsing Formula E.
I think in the long term, I think the combustion races, they will be very restricted.
Yeah.
So I think if you're talking about a couple of decades in front, there is no other solution than actually racing fully electric.
Sadly, Formula 1 people never think more than 3 months in advance, let alone 3 decades in advance.
I mean, I don't know 3 decades or 2, but I just, for example, in the UK, they're gonna ban. Yeah, they're gonna ban sales of petrol cars by 40. So I mean, imagine the impact that will have on the sport.
Yeah,
and we're talking about.
But the next generation of Formula E cars, I'm assuming they're going to do all they can to make them sound a bit better and faster, aren't they? I presume. Can you do anything about the sound?
To be honest, sound is a waste of energy.
Yeah, good point.
So
what do you hear when you're driving?
You hear a lot of the aerodynamic noise, the same as F1. Apart from when you are at the start, when Formula E actually makes zero sound because we have no clutch, no anything.
How funny that is.
But when you're driving itself at high speed, you just hear the aerodynamic noise. But again, sound is waste of energy. So the least amount of sound, the more efficient the machinery. So only if you create artificial sound.
And do you hear a lot of tire noise?
A little bit. The tire actually is it's a good and a bad point of the championship. The tire is very close. It's like a road commercial tire structure with a racing compound, and we could gain a lot of lap time by having a normal racing tire, but it's not the same technology that you see on the road. So
why did they choose to go with treaded tires? Just for the point of view of the weather?
No, for the point of view that you need now in motorsport to develop commercial relevant products.
Oh, okay.
So what's the point of developing a tire which is super soft and wears down in 30 kilometers or 20 if you cannot transfer this technology to a commercial product?
Yeah.
So that's what Michelin, actually, that's why I say it's a good idea. The commercial properties of the of Formula E, they are very relevant. But then you compromise on the performance because you have a tire that can race on the dry and in the wet.
Yeah.
With the same tire, of course you compromise specific performance, which.
I love the look of the new car though.
Have you seen no, it hasn't been released.
Well, I've seen an artist's impression.
Yes, yes.
What it should look like.
It will look more aggressive than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It will look very cool. Yes.
Oh, cool.
It will look very cool. I think we'll make up to the. I mean, the design was very conservative of these first cars. The new car will gonna look mega.
Good.
And the battery capacity is already double. So for us to put, our motor generates 300 horsepower. And it only weighs about 20 kilos. Yeah. So to put two motors or four, it's actually very easy.
Yeah.
You can put one motor of that on each wheel. Actually, I'm doing that with a road car. I'm building a road car with 4 Formula E motors.
Really?
Yeah. The car has 1,200 horsepower.
Well,
So that's very easy. But the problem is the battery.
Yeah.
But to go from
But battery technology, I guess, is very.
It's already doubled
Yeah.
since we started Formula E.